Welcome to the Christian and Daniel Show.
It's about to get real, well, you know the deal. You won't have to guess how either of them feel. Bringing up the things you don't think to know. Never knowing where the conversation will go. Just a little more than anything goes. It's a Christian and Daniel Show.
It's the Christian Show. I'm Christian and Daniel Show. And this guy over here is Daniel.
Hey, everybody.
He's the Daniel part of the show.
Welcome to the Christian and Daniel Show. And thank all of our friends on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Thank you for joining us. Do us a favor, please share this on your page so that other folks can watch it with you. If you're watching us on YouTube, scroll down, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. It'll let you know every time there's a new show posted. Remember, we got horoscopes on Monday, Christian and Daniel on Wednesdays, Zodiacs on Fridays, put it together on Saturdays. So something pretty much every day of the week. Our first audience of the day. Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
Charlie, yay. Hey, Charlie.
Welcome to the show. Welcome, everybody. How you doing?
I am doing good. I am making progress on a personal crazy project from a crazy 2019 year. Year of bad choices, as I call it. But it gave me hope, a little hope, which I'm always happy to have. And I prayed for in my meditation today. Or I didn't pray for it. I asked for love, light, and hope so I could have some to share with others. Because without my higher power blessing me with that, I really don't have any to share, because if I had it to share, I wouldn't be in program. I wouldn't have to do anything. I wouldn't have to commit my day to another higher power. I meant to change my shirt because this is not my favorite shirt anymore. And I don't think it's yours. I've seen edit photos where you edited out the name, Havana.
Oh, yes.
Your favorite.
Well, okay, I mean, because I bought you other shirts, particularly for this, so that you could wear nice shirts on the show, but you go back to your old shirts.
Well, I meant to change. I just, as you know, I got distracted right before the show started. So I'm sorry, folks. I could have on one of my cuter shirts, but unfortunately, I got distracted because I was handling this issue that needed to be handled. But I'm very proud of myself for handling it, because I had to overcome a lot of fear and sadness to do it. And the fear and sadness have been prohibiting me from taking action and just getting it done for like a long time. And I am just, and a shout out to a friend of ours, our sis in heart, who is in Hawaii today, Martha Ormond.
Why are you telling her business? She probably doesn't want people to know she's on vacation.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't get that from our conversation, but okay. But either way, I just really appreciate all the love, care, and help that she puts out and has put out to us for years and years at this point.
Well, she's our accountant too, so let's
just spill her business all out, Dan.
Well, everybody knows she's an accountant. She's been on my show as an accountant, so she's done interviews on the show.
I feel like I know how those women felt when there's this double standard applied to you. Like, you can say it, but I can't say it.
Well, one thing is her job. We want her to get more business. She's a great accountant.
She is amazing. And, what she understands is, I realized filling out this form, I don't get any of it. It is like Swahili. You literally could speak Swahili to me, and I would get the same amount of benefit from it. I am so averse to numbers and math. I'm so averse to it. And I've had such negative experiences associated with anything dealing with math that I'm incapable. It's like, you might as well just be speaking Swahili or Chinese, Mandarin, or Cantonese Chinese. I will not understand it. It's like when I got lost in Tokyo with my friend Jeff, and looked up at the signs as if I was going to be able to read the signs and go, oh, we're on this street. I'll never forget it. I looked up and all you see it's Japanese on a sign. And I'm like, it was just one of those moments when you realize for the first time in my life, I am truly lost. I don't speak the language. I can't read the language. I can't even take a guess at what these symbols mean. And thank God for the graciousness and the wonderful Japanese people we did meet who helped, who fed us, let us stay in their place when it started getting cold, and drew beautiful detailed directions on how to get back to the subway station. We had no idea where it was. It was like literally on that trip, that was one of those few times I've been on trips where I felt the kindness of other cultures, where there's cultures where people aren't just about themselves and they're not just about, take care of myself and I don't care what's going on around me, or leave me alone. I don't have time to deal with you, you silly American. Because that's what we were. We were literally the stupid Americans, as you'll hear about, lost in a place where we have no idea about anything. All I can say is sushi. I can't even get that.
That's like the joke of these two Mexicans come across the border, and the only thing that one guy knows how to order is coffee and donuts. So every time he goes to the restaurant, all he knows to order is coffee and donuts, coffee and donuts. And one day the other guy says, "Man, you're losing a lot of weight. What's going on?" He's like, "Well, all I know how to order is coffee and donuts." He goes, "No, let me teach you another one. That way you can know something else." He goes, "Okay." He goes, "Say hamburger and a Coke, hamburger and Coke." And the guy's like, "Oh, okay. What's that?" And he goes, "Hamburguesa." It's right. It's like, "Oh, okay." He goes, "That way you have something different for lunch." So the guy goes back to the restaurant the next day. He sits down, and the waitress comes over. She's like, "Did you want coffee and donuts?" And the guy's like, "No, hamburger and Coke." And she goes, "Do you want cheese on that?" "Coffee and donuts."
He goes back to his default.
Yeah, it was like I didn't practice that part, so
That's so bad.
But well, good. Interesting enough, I was telling you earlier, I was in a 2-hour life coach training class, and interesting enough, one of the biggest barriers that people were posting about that was stopping them from moving forward in their careers was fear. And
Oh, yeah.
and then everybody had different fears of failure, fears of not knowing enough, fear of not charging enough, fear of not making a future, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But all these fears. And then as we were talking, I was like, I don't have any fears. I'm awesome. And then I started thinking, and I really started to analyze,
Yeah.
because it absolutely
If you're
matches.
fearless, then you are the next coming, and we need to worship you.
Well, it's interesting because today is one of the national, for everybody, I like the Nationals.
Yeah.
Today is Everything You Think Is Wrong Day.
Oh.
Everything you think is wrong in the world day. And then I thought, one of the things that is wrong in my head that causes this fear is that as a kid, or when I was younger, there was no push to becoming bigger or better.
No. And
It was go to school, get out of high school, go work in a factory, because that's what my parents did. There was never anything beyond that. And when my dreams got bigger than that,
yeah.
they didn't know how to stimulate them or motivate me. And that's my fear.
Because that's where they say, it's tough for first generation parents in the US or in anywhere, but it's hard for first generation parents because once you graduate, like what sometimes just getting to high school will get you there. But it's like once you hit where they maxed out at, they really don't comprehend the rest. And that's where they say a lot of like first generations have the greatest challenge is to exceed their parents' what their parents have done, so that the second generation goes, oh, I can go to college, I can get a degree. Because with, you only can tell a child what you know. I mean, you could talk about things theoretically, but that's the point. It's theoretical. If you haven't done it, it's really hard to competently talk about it.
Yeah. My
That's
parents.
interesting. And you've exceeded.
I think
Like,
my dad, my dad, in his world, because for those of you that don't know, I went to high school in Mexico. Moving back to the States after high school was, well, you're bilingual, you were good in school. I've already talked to the manager at work, and we can get you a job, and you can move up to supervisor, you can move up to manager really quick, and you're set. And when I was like, well, I want to go to college, and there was no concept like, what do you mean you want to go to college? Like, that doesn't, we didn't prep for that for you. I was like, okay, well, I want to go to trade school then at least. Which I have to admit, trade school was the best thing for me at that time. 10 months and I was out of business school, and I knew a bunch, but it was, but yeah. So, which is interesting because also today is, and we can keep talking about things you think are wrong that you want to correct in your life, but also today is Redefine Wealth Day.
Excuse me. Wow. It's weird. These days are both pretty applicable to kind of like where my headset.
Yeah. That's why when you were talking, I was like,
when I was talking with Martha last night we talked for quite a long time. It came up, like, you've had, like she had said, she's had to do it too. Like, we both have had to redefine in the last 5 years. Martha and I, from the people who met, we've known each other longer than 5 years, but she and I kind of hit the same wall in a similar time frame, where she made some significant changes to her life and I made significant changes to my life. And yes, they've not been easy. They were tough, and some continue to be tough. I've had to redefine what wealth means to me, because I always had the definition, it's just literally how much money is in your liquid bank account, not your savings, not your IRAs and all the other stuff, but just what's in your liquid bank account. That's what really counts, because that is what people think wealth, because you can acquire physical objects and things with that liquid money. And the more liquid money you have, the more you can buy, the more you can invest in. And I started to realize that I worked for that for many, many decades. And now I realize in this time frame, I've redefined wealth. I am literally poor. And in a way, like, I used to scoff at in a very earlier times in my life, particularly when I was less recovered and far less sensitive about other people's plights or positions in the world. But besides it being very humbling, it's also caused me to realize, for real, legit, there is so much more joy and happiness in my life, because what I do for a living is fulfilling, as opposed to making the most money I can. Now, would I love to make enough money to buy a house, remodel a house, put in a pool, buy the fancy car? Of course, that would be nice. But if it isn't fulfilling, it's all BS. It doesn't mean anything. A nice car is a nice car, but it's just a car. I love my little car I have now. I love my little Sylvia. I get on her and I ride her like a crazy man. And I mean, I did it again. I get in Sylvia. No, Sylvia is just a fabulous little car to drive. And she's fun. And when I'm in her, I don't feel like it's someone else's choice. It's the first car I've really gotten that's truly my choice. But it's still a thing. If she were to disappear, I wouldn't want her to, but if she were, my life wouldn't end. I remember my days would be relied on acquisitions. My joy in life, I had to go buy that new TV. I had to go buy that new computer. Even though I had a perfectly good TV and a perfectly good computer, I had to go because I based my joy on acquiring things. And now I base it on, how am I giving back to this world? What am I going to leave? I don't want people to go, boy, he was amazing because he owned all these cars and had this house and had. No, I have never heard anyone at any funeral say that. What I've heard people say is, wow, he was a really great dad or mom or whatever. Or, wow, he really gave back to community. Like, his foundation is great and it will survive him. It will still be around. Or his artwork is still there. Those are objects of passion. They don't necessarily have a price tag attached to them. And that's what I've learned.
Yeah.
This experience has humbled me to the point where I realize I take greater joy when a student says, thank you so much, Mr. Christian. I love that they call him Mr. Christian, but thank you so much, Mr. Christian. I had you've helped me so much. That means I found more joy in that than I did in a 6-digit income and not helping anyone but myself do things and stuff.
For the folks that are just joining, I saw your group. I hadn't seen Michelle Graham. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being on the show. And Charlie, I will answer your question in just a minute, Charlie. But yeah, for those of you that just joined us, we like to go over like National Today days, and today is National Redefine Wealth Day, which I found 3 particular definitions: an abundance of valuable possessions or money, valuable possessions or money, the state of being rich, material prosperity, and the last one is plentiful supplies of a particular resource. And I think that's the one that, hey Nancy, how you doing?
Hi.
I think that's the one that I wanted to focus on more, because I may not have a lot of money, but I'm wealthy in resources. Like I know a lot of things, and I know I'm resourceful. Whenever people tell me, how do you define yourself? I'm like, resilient and resourceful. Those are my 2 go-to words. But I think
that's really good, because I've never thought of how I would describe myself like that. Yeah, I've never given that any thought.
Because I use in advocacy work and coaching. When I'm coaching somebody, I want to find out, how do you define yourself? And they usually look at you like, well, how do you do it? And I'm like, I'm resilient, resourceful, and sarcastic. That's usually like you can count on those things for me. And so for the folks out there, what 2-3 words define you? Who, if I asked you, who are you in 3 words, who would you be?
That is a tough question.
So if you were one of my clients, I would ask you that question.
I think when people hear that, in your head, you just think, oh, that's easy. But when you really 3 words that truly define you, not just 3 words that you throw out like beautiful, fabulous, amazing, glitter balls.
See, and okay.
Stubborn.
And Michelle just did one of the things that I do. It's a strength, and what would be looked at as a deficit. Like, I'm stubborn, but
I think stubborn can be very positive too.
Yeah, but to use that as because when I tell people I'm a little sarcastic, they're like, well, does that work against you? I'm like, not always.
No, it really doesn't.
I get away with a lot.
Daniel does. I'll tell you, folks, if you don't know, he gets away with a lot.
Aw, hey, sweetheart. I just saw you. Okay, I'm going to say it because I just saw your picture on Facebook.
Hello.
Love the hair.
Yeah.
Love the hair. She cut her hair. Good. Looks really cute. Really cute hair. So for people today are 2 really cool days. What do you think is wrong day? Like, what do you think is wrong? And then the second one is redefined wealth day. What is your personal wealth? You're welcome, sweetheart.
So Michelle started a good role though. Strong, independent, stubborn. I still haven't figured out. Like, I can't think of the 3. Like, I would say, like, I think about myself. I go, what would I do? This is what I mean. It seems like an easy question, but I'm like, 3 words. And I go, so I would say loyal. Loyal. Loyal, caring, and if I was going to come up with something that's questionable as a third, I'd go loyal. Let's say loyal, loving, and procrastinating. A procrastinator.
Yeah.
And
So
I can't deny that I am a hardcore procrastinator.
for everybody,
Or you could
watching us,
say, or I could say people pleaser too, but I'm in recovery, so I don't really do that too much anymore.
yeah. So for everybody watching us, join in. What are 3 words that define you? If I asked you 3 words that define, here go David Gonzalez:
That's
patient,
great.
quiet, and curious. Those are really good 3 words. And I would say
Yeah.
yes. I would say yes. The time that I've known David Gonzalez, who has followed me from the first Put It Together podcast, he is a curious person. So that's a pretty good thing. So for the rest of you, while we're on the show, join us and tell us.
It's so interesting how hard that was for me just now.
Yeah, because we don't like to talk
It was
about ourselves.
really tough.
Because we would normally say 3.
I could come up with 3 deficits, like 3 character defects. I could come up with those like that.
Yeah, there you go. 3 put downs, so 3 degrading.
Oh, it's so easy. Like,
Yeah, we could say a whole bunch, but
procrastinator, uh, lack of attention and lack of attention to detail. And, it's like in job interviews, people ask you stuff like that. Like, what are 3 words you would use to describe yourself? And then they always ask that question. What's a negative characteristic, or what are 3 negative characteristics that you've found out about yourself in the work?
That's pretty easy. Okay, so Charlie has strong, reliable,
And a
procrastinator.
procrastinator. Yeah, I don't think that's uncommon.
And it's really easy in those situations because we don't like to boast ourselves. But when you go, for anybody out there, when you go to an interview, when you're being interviewed,
Yeah, exactly.
when you're in a situation like this, like when I'm coaching people and I'm trying to sell, I have to sell the program. I have to sell.
Yeah.
When I'm auditioning, I have to sell me. So you have to learn to look at yourself and go, if I had to define Daniel G. Garza, how would I define him? And it's hard. I've worked on it a lot, so it's a little easier for me now.
Yeah.
But kind, knowledgeable, and kick-ass. There you go. Yeah.
I love that. And that is all awesome. And it's all true.
It's very
all
true.
true.
Very true.
And with Daniel, the interesting thing is I've taken an example of Daniel's life and applied it to myself for 2023, which is he goes to auditions, and if you don't get the role, actors in general, even the A-listers, have not always gotten all the roles they go for. And I just saw a recent thing with Mila Kunis talking about her career and her life as an actress. And it was interesting when she talked about rejection. And she said, I experienced it. She started acting when she was very young. So she's experienced a lot of rejection and before she became who she is today. And I just kind of thought about that. And I go, that's what I've incorporated from Daniel, from my partner. He taught me to take that rejection and twist it around. I say twist, that's the wrong word. Or rotate it, or
Yeah, but you're right. You're right. Twisted is
transmute it into motivation for your next opportunity. Like when I get we're going to go with another, like if I'm applying to jobs like crazy, and when we're going to go with another candidate, who's whatever they may say, who's better qualified or something, I take that and I go, okay, I'm not supposed to be here. Like my higher power this is not the job for me. Or else I would be. Something positive would have come from it. So the positive is I take that energy that I used to turn on myself and I used to take personally and let it become the energy that fueled my procrastination at wanting to apply to another job. Now I turn it around into motivation and positive energy, going, it just wasn't the place for me or the position for me. So I need to move on to the next thing, like Daniel does. When he comes back and he doesn't get a role or something, he's just like, okay, let's move on. And actors, if you're an actor, you have to do that. If you're in any type of entertainment that's in front of the camera, You have to learn to be resilient. That's what the word is. It's resilient. But empathetic, dreamer. Oh my gosh.
Short-tempered.
That was fantastic,
I'll
Nancy.
agree with that. I'll agree with
I haven't seen the short-tempered side, but that's just
I'll
me.
agree with that. And for those of you watching, that's my sister, so I can.
And she is empathetic. And that's probably one of the words I should have used was empathetic or empathic.
Dimensional, determined, and diplomatic. Oh, thank you, Crystal.
Huh?
I will take that, man.
I would say cold
But
prickly.
you know, so no's, when somebody gives you a no, you really have two options. And I'm not going to say that you don't have, I mean, you totally, completely have permission to sit down and complain, bitch, cry, maybe do a couple of sweat. You totally should do that because it gets in. But then you have two choices. Either you sit there and you sit in it and blame everybody,
and you let that negative energy just infect you,
or you write a book.
Or you just write a book about grumpy bunnies.
You write a book, or you have your own cards printed.
Oh, or you turn to your alignment card deck.
You know, it's.
Oh my God, Crystal, you nailed me. That is exactly. Oh my God, I should have said that.
Related to one of the real Ramones. They wish.
I know, right?
She is a Ramones. She is Ramones. Classy, clever, and compassionate. I will take that. But yeah, I mean, we have the choice, and I say we because, like for instance, when I lost my disability, I got that letter on a Friday. I got into my apartment Friday morning, opened that letter, cried a little bit, got mad a little bit. I knew it was coming.
I know you got. The anger part was significant because this doctor was such a prick.
Because this was October, and I knew from September that it was going to happen. But then
I don't know what the face is.
I know, and I wonder what face he talks about. And then I was mad for 2 hours. I cried for a couple hours. I made a cup of coffee. I got on the phone and I was like, "Hey, do you still have that job? Hey, do you still need help? Hey, I'm going to come help." By Saturday evening, I had 4 part-time gigs.
And what did you do? You see, that's what I mean. Like you turned that negative moment you transmuted it into a positive energy to get you to not procrastinate. I took it personally and procrastinated. And I so want to know the face you're referring to. I know
what face.
If I haven't done last show or this show, that's really weird.
When it comes up, say it again. Hey guys, both look fabulous in here.
Emery, thank you.
Thank you.
We did look cute.
We missed you, Emery. Where have you been? We've missed you. I remember when you got that letter shortly thereafter, you became determined and parlayed all your energy into what has come about you. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, I got my letter at the end of October.
Yeah.
Beginning of October. And then we went into lockdown the next.
Yeah.
I just started my getting into a groove, and we went into lockdown, and that's when I changed things around. Like, I'll write a book.
And I'm just gonna. It's a total off topic, but I was shaving and I cut my chin severely. Like I could see the fat layer. It was bad, and that's why I haven't shaved. I apologize. I'm unshaven. I usually shave for the show. But I didn't shave because I can't shave over that spot yet because I'm scared I'm going to reopen it. So I'm going to have to let it heal. But just wanted to say because I feel bad. I look at myself. I go, "Oh, you look haggard. Did you have?"
We can't tell. But did you see that? That's the face he's talking about.
What one? That face you did the last time, putting your hands on the side and doing the big.
There you go. And then I guess there's a question from my sister. What is different about Daniel now than when he was a teenager?
Oh my! I don't.
Well, oddly enough,
Nancy, please answer that.
Interesting enough, I lived in Mexico when I was a teenager. So
I know we need Juanita to come on.
We weren't that. We didn't see each other that often. Usually, our chins get firmer over the years from
yeah. I agree. I agree. I know she's all
Thinking, now you got her thinking. That is dangerous.
I
But
love
I guess I can go back and answer the question that
Oh, that
try to-
Michael had. What did I miss? We need to tell him about the three. Like, tell us three. Use 3 words to describe yourself.
yes, today we're 3 words to describe you. And they
Yeah,
could be
describe
any
you.
word.
And they could be 3 positives, or Daniel suggested like his life coaching, spiritual life coaching work he does. He tells people to do 2 positives and then 1 questionable. It could be negative, may not be negative, but it's not 100%
And,
positive.
well, we catch up with that. Charlie was asking what was.
Oh,
I loved high school. I was a popular kid in high school.
do you have any concept of how it was different from American high school, since you really never
Well, we
went?
didn't have prom. We didn't have yearbooks. We didn't have homecoming. We had dances once a month on Friday.
That's pretty cool.
Our school was three shifts. So there was a morning, afternoon, and evening school.
Oh, that's kind of neat. I like that setup.
So
Teachers
you were.
That's
It was a whole different school. Like you would go in the morning, and it was one. It was
Like,
all
this
the
is
puppy
that
kids
morning
were in the morning,
Yeah.
and then the middle of the day, it was a different energy. And then the night school was usually kids who had to work during the day or something, and it was a totally different vibe.
I never even conceived that.
Yeah.
Like that kids would have to work and
Yeah.
needed the day so they could. But I love that the option existed to go to school at night.
Now the benefit was that once a month during school year there was, like I said, every once a month there was a dance, and the dance started before the end of the first shift of classes. So middle and evening classes didn't have. They would
Oh,
set
they didn't have the dance.
yeah, we'd have a dance. But I would tell you this: it's 4 semesters. It's 2 years of high school. All 4 semesters, I was popular. I came out my last semester. I was still popular, but I was usually one of the first kids on the dance floor. Because I was a dancer too in high school.
Yeah.
So we were expected to open the dance. If we didn't open the dance, nobody danced. So I was that kind of snob. I was a popular boy in high school because I was the only bottom boy in that town.
That's what I was laughing at a few minutes ago.
Oh, we've missed you, Emery.
Oh,
By the
Emery,
way-
but Little House on the Prairie, that's woo. That is rural.
By the way, Emery, I've been meaning to talk to you privately, so please let me know how I can get a hold of you in a private message if you can. But so yeah, for everybody who's watching now, we've been talking about everything you think is wrong day. Today is National Everything You Think is Wrong Day. So what's one thing that you grew up, or as a grown-up, you realize, wait a minute, that's not the way you do things.
You know, I saw a show recently. I can't remember what show it was because there have been so many. I watched a show recently where a kid came home from boarding school that was outside the U.S. And someone said, well, what were some of the thoughts? What's your first thoughts coming back to the U.S.? And he goes, I'm really terrified to be coming into such a highly volatile socio-political situation that this country's in. And I just started laughing. I'm like, I can see that. Like, when you've left this country and spent any time living abroad, you do come back and America looks really different to you. Because when you've lived somewhere else where I don't mean this to the extreme, but it's just the only way I could think about it, is like the time I lived abroad, there's a point after a year or two where you really do disconnect from what's going on here because you're in another country. And frankly, these other countries don't care what's happening in America. They care what's happening in their country. So it's interesting to be in a culture where everyone's like, oh, whatever. Unless it's something on a high level that affects everyone.
So Michael Moran is compatible. I get along with everyone. If I have a problem with me, it's not me, it's you.
No,
Useful. I am
I'm an aspiring
individual that could
that
play
could
a
play a
role.
role.
And 3,
Oh, wow.
and 3, master. I now have a master's degree. Boom.
And it's true.
But
I'm play. This bald spot came into existence when I was trying to get through my master's program. So it's a lot of work. And you don't want to let anyone forget that you put that work in. Congratulations again, Michael.
I was just thinking about the question that David asked. David, a better question would be, how was I as a kid versus an adult? Because my sister Nancy helped raise me when I was a kid. She would get me ready to go to school. She would babysit me during the summers. But the teenage years, I was away. But I think she has a more, I don't know, maybe I'm talking about my perception. Maybe she has a better perception.
And she also dealt with you when you were a tween, right? When you were between being a kid and a teenager, like that cusp, like between 11 and 13.
Well, I moved to Mexico when I was 11.
Okay, so yeah, that's a tween.
Yeah, so I was away at school from 11 to 18.
Wow.
And then, so I would only come home for the summers or the holidays. So
I can imagine you could do a lot of Daniel stuff.
now I lived with them during my 20s.
Yeah.
I lived with them for a couple of years in my 20s. But then that's different. But yeah, my sister Nancy was very influential in my life when I was a kid.
She's a pretty amazing person, period. Like I've always been very impressed by her.
Was David no street smarts? Oh, I was not.
Yeah, Daniel. I try to phrase it that way because it's a pretty broad range.
There were the many sides to Daniel growing up. I was definitely. And when you were misbehaving, your sister would spank you with the chancla. No, but my mom did.
Oh, yeah,
my mom did.
Scary.
My mom did.
Daniel, there are not many adults that I have met in this world as an adult male, as an adult person myself, that intimidated me, and particularly when they're living with, some form of deficit. Daniel's mom scares just thinking about my memories of it scares the bejesus out of me. Not because she's a mean person or anything of that sort. It's her energy. There's certain, you can pick up on people's like I'm trying to think how to phrase this.
We have to disclaimer first. Now, first of all, my mom passed away in August of 2020, so she's not around anymore. But her energy is very well. It's around. But Christian met my mom towards the end.
Well, about what, 4 years?
You met her in 2016.
Yeah.
So 4 years. My mom was around for 4 years.
About 4 years.
So when Christian met my mom, she was very deep into her Alzheimer's.
Yes.
But the looks that my mother gave Christian when
scared me to death. She never did anything to me. It's the looks. People, let's not play. Anyone who's a parent out there, or we all have been kids too, but wow, like she scared me to death. Daniel's mom, and I can't imagine her with all her faculties. She would have been a very powerful person to manage and deal with. Like, not in any negative way, just meaning she was powerful. Like, you want to talk about mama bear energy? She had mama bear energy. Even in deficit, she had mama bear energy.
If you've ever met anybody who has Alzheimer's, that they're not there anymore. But we were at Nancy's house. And Christian walked in, and I introduced them. This is right after cancer.
Yeah.
And I was still in recoup mode. But yeah, because I was still connecting with my mom. It took another year or so when she completely disconnected with my energy.
Yeah.
But
you were still very connected when we went.
My mom looked at me and said, she's like this, like, oh, and then she turns to Christian, she's like,
it's one of those looks that just pierces right through you. Like, your soul she's like looking at my soul. She wasn't looking at me.
If my mom could have done it, she'd be like, who is this queen?
Yeah, exactly. Who's this queen? What's she doing here?
If I had $1 for every mama look I received when I was done.
Emery, I love you. I love you. And we have a few that we need to put up.
The mom's look, dun. Yeah, you knew you were in trouble if you don't. Yeah. Definitely.
And then I never spanked Daniel.
I pulled those up, but I just didn't comment on it.
And then
Yeah,
Chris
she burned me once. She burned me once.
That's about your mom's instruction.
She burned me once with an iron. I'm going to say that.
And I know you're exaggerating what happened. And then Chris,
She came at me because she was evil. No, actually, true story is, Nancy would iron her clothes before she went to school, and she doesn't. Oh, she says what now? She says what now?
I know, Nancy. He loves to exaggerate things.
Okay, hold on. Let me tell the story. But Kristen had to spank Daniel.
Absolutely, I've had to.
How dare you, sir? The battle of the chanclas. Okay, so one time, we were getting ready to go, and Nancy was ironing a shirt, and she put the iron on the bed, but she put it sideways. And I was a kid, and I was sleepy. And
see, I knew it wasn't.
I don't know if I was waiting for her to iron my shirt or something, but when I leaned back, the iron got me right on the bottom, and like it's right here on the back. I probably don't have burning. I don't have the scar anymore. But I'm scarred here. I am scarred here.
The scars inside.
Aquí. That's why every time I iron clothes, I cry.
Lord, and he doesn't.
Jodo. I grab the iron and I cry from the memories.
Oh my goodness. And I do love, thank you guys. Thank you, David and Emery and Michael, for letting me know. I didn't have a Mexican mother growing up.
Remember.
Oh no, because he did it to himself. You didn't do it. That's why you don't remember, because you didn't do anything wrong.
I cry every time.
Oh yes, he cries every time he irons.
I think of those moments when
all he does is he sprays the starch and the heavy starch and goes, "Oh, it smells so good. I love that."
Actually, a true story is my mom would do laundry. Usually, we would go Saturday morning to do laundry. And then
the laundromat.
Yeah, we would go to the laundromat.
Ooh,
and then in the evenings,
the good ones.
Fernando, ¿cómo estás? Nice to see you. And then on Saturday evenings, while my dad would go out with his friends, my mom would iron the clothes. And my mom was a magnificent ironer. My mom would iron shirts that looked like they came from the cleaners.
I bet.
Amazing. But the smell of starch. We would watch reruns of Hee Haw and the Lawrence Welk Show.
And which one?
The Lawrence Welk Show.
Oh my Lord!
My mom used to like the Lawrence Welk Show, and she used to like Hee Haw. I don't know why she liked Hee Haw, but we used to watch Hee Haw and the Lawrence Welk Show on reruns on PBS while she was ironing. And whenever I iron, I use starch. It takes me all the way back to that. Every time, and still pops. Here. Oh my God. We have missed you.
We have really missed you.
We have missed you. We're glad to see you back.
Yes, I didn't grow up with my genetic mom, who is a Mexican mom. So my mother was German. So German mothers don't. My mom, it wasn't looks, as almost with my mother being German, it was like the lack of a look that would be more scary. When her face would go blank, and I swear her eyes would go dark. You're like, I really messed up. So it's funny how every culture does have its kind of norms for how moms are effective, how they affect their children, like tell their children, I'm not happy, but I'm not going to do anything publicly. I'm not going to do anything here.
Did my mom have a problem with your dad going out with his friends? No, actually, as I got older, once I started driving, it was really cool, because if I didn't go out, my mom's favorite things for takeout were either Church's Chicken, Pizza Hut, or we would get Dairy Queen burgers. And
I've never had a Dairy Queen burger.
And when we would stay home, if I would stay home that night, we would watch TV. Sábado Gigante was huge. So we would watch. It was like a 4-hour long show. We would watch Sábado Gigante, eat food. Sometimes we would play solitaire against each other. So my mom and I, once I got in as an adult and I came out, and like we had a really good relationship. We were pretty good.
You know, I pretty much so.
At this point, why? Why am I?
¿Por qué?
Okay. All right, so it's that time. Are you ready?
Well, no. One more thing. Similar to Daniel, I didn't come out till I was 26, but I would always, Saturdays were big. Like my mom loved going shopping at the mall, and I loved shopping with her. I loved going shopping with her, not because I would get stuff necessarily, but because she would get stuff. And I so loved dressing her in these cute business outfits, business suits, and cute heels and cute shoes. How she knew. There was no secrets between us. She knew. But I just love shopping with her, and I have the best memories. Like for me, I love the smell of department stores. When you walk in, there's a certain smell that seems like all department stores have, and that brings me back to my experiences with my mom, because we would do that like religiously every Saturday, and sometimes even on Sundays. Go to church, then Dad watches football games, which we had no interest in, and we'd go get out of the house so we didn't hear him screaming all day, and it was just great. And so I have similar types of memories like that too. And they're just so much fun. Yes, I love trying on clothes because I got to go in the dressing room. It's like going to the locker room at the gym. That's the only reason I go work out.
Well, we talked about this a while on another episode about scents that bring us back.
Yeah.
I love the scent of Pine Sol. I like Downy, the original Downy. So those are, and by the way, before we move on, we didn't get to this one, but this is for the crowd. Today is National Peanut Lover Day. So for all of you nut lovers, today is your day.
National Peanut. Like, they're very specific.
With that, are you ready?
I'm thinking how many kids are allergic to peanuts now. That must be a terribly understated day now. Yes, I'm ready. My pick of the week is Ginny and Georgia. It is a wonderful story. It's in season 2. Wonderful story on Netflix about a very young mother who's grown up basically with her daughter. And then she also has a little brother, but he's kind of more of a minor role in the scope of things. And about the challenges that a young mother and daughter who's not that much younger than her mom, kind of like the trials and tribulations. I feel I relate to it a bit because I have a friend who had a child at 18, and the child's not that much, not that far from her age. So it's always interesting to see those types of dynamics. But this one is great because it really is how the mom and daughter grew up and how the dynamic between them has changed over the decades, over the time that they've been together. And now they're in this wonderful town in a good situation in season 2. And it's kind of showing how even when you have the optimal situation going on around you, there's still drama and there's still issues and there's still things that can go wrong. No matter how beautiful a neighborhood is, there's always an underside. So it's just a lot of fun to watch the show. The acting is terrific. The writing is fantastic. And the characters are really interesting and dynamic. Yes.
I had to put it up there. My pick of the week is Farmer Wants a Wife. And there are 2 different shows. One is the Australian version, which is called The Farmer Wants a Wife. And they're like on their 4th season. And then the American version, which just started, is Farmer Wants a Wife. And it's they're both on Hulu. What's the premise? The farmer wants a wife. And what they do is they bring in all these females. It's kind of like The Bachelor meets the Dukes of Hazzard. So they bring they have these farmers. They have a group of women that they pick from, a larger group, and they move in with them to their farm for a week. And they have to help out and do the chores and do farm stuff. And then the farmer gets to pick a wife at the end of it. It's if you're a fan of The Bachelor, you'll like this one. It's a little more funny. It's a little more relaxed. And it's a lot quicker paced than The Bachelor. But we are fans of The Bachelor, so we love that show. But if you like those type of shows, there are competitions that are about choosing and love and crying and love me more.
And if you love watching people wrestle in pig poop and mud.
It is what it is. And what is your pick of the week? What shows are you watching that we should take a look at? Let us
And
know.
I just have to say, like Daniel said, the farmer wants a wife. It's what I love is it's so much more low key and low brow compared to The Bachelor.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to Bucharest.
Well, I'm gonna say I started watching the American version, but Christian and I are watching the first season of the Australian version. And let me tell you,
It's different.
we got a little invested in some of these.
Yes.
Because we were like, ooh, choose this one, choose that one.
And
Okay,
then there is one woman in this particular, in the Australian, where the family picked one potential mate for them. And it's interesting to see who did well and who didn't. And yeah, you get invested in these really quick. It's really easy.
And there's a couple more differences. In the Australian version, there's 5 men that 5 men?
Yes, 5 men.
In the American version, there's 4. In the Australian, they bring 3 women home. In the American version, they bring 5 women home. And in the Australian version, the family picks the 3rd girl. And
they just picked an extra girl.
Right. And then they get to like date them for an hour or whatever.
I mean, they literally, and then they take them to the farm. Like in the Australian one, there's no.
Wait, and I want to go back to this. Were you the farmer or the wife? I want to know what role. You never know with Emery. You never know with Emery. Nope, I was in
the 12 men version. Oh, Emery.
Well, I think was it a version of 12 Angry Men and Farmer Wants a Wife? Because that sounds like.
I think the word angry could be exchanged for another term, but we're not going to do it on our show.
But
it's like the argument I told you about why they say there's no gay Bachelor show. Remember what I told you?
Yes.
We'll keep that as an inside joke.
But there's been a couple of tries. They just didn't work out. So I wanted to show you a couple of things before we run out of time.
Please.
So, actually, I didn't put them up there. Oh! For everybody, we were talking last week about what's the name of the store? 5 Under, 5 Below, 5 Below. Oh, the name of the store that we went to.
Oh, 5 Below, yes.
5 Below.
5 Below, 5.
Yes, 5 Below. So we went to 5 Below, and we found this really cool book. I was going to talk about it on my interview on Saturday, and I forgot to bring it up, but I wanted to show it to you guys. So this is the book, Divine Your Dinner. It's a specific dinner for every tarot card, and I need to get it together after I come back from DC. But I want to get it together because we want to do it. I want to do it.
I want to try it.
Yeah. There are soups and salads and entrees and desserts, but every tarot card has a different
recipe.
Food. Yeah. So we're going to TikTok this.
That's so cool.
We want to do this.
And just I guess you choose because we're not bougie. We would choose an entree and a dessert.
Yeah.
You know, and figure out and then make that meal. That would be so much fun to do online, particularly live.
And then the other thing for those of you that were not, because I just got them Friday.
Oh yeah, you haven't said anything.
Yeah. So for those of you who watched Zodiacs on Friday and put it together on Saturday, you probably already know about the alignment. This is the alignment. This is my logo for my spiritual life coaching workshop, the alignment, mind, body, and spirit. And the reason I'm showing it to you because here they are, folks. I received them on Friday.
And they are amazing. Tell me you don't love that logo, people. That logo is top notch.
So here's the deck of cards. And
what does it say, Daniel? What does it say?
The alignment. Oh,
wait, that one's upside down. And we can't read the words underneath. What are those words?
Mind, body, and spirit.
Mind, body, and
And
spirit.
if you'll remember, I was using my prototype for a long, long time, which I have it saved now. It's going to go into the safe box because it's going to one day when I'm uber famous, people are going to use. But here's my deck.
Yes, the professional done deck, not the prototype anymore. It is so incredible. And it's exactly, they did it so well. It's exactly the way Daniel wanted it.
Foundations, but then
flip it over.
En español.
Adios inglés, hola español.
So not only can you use these for your spiritual life coaching for yourself or for others, but you can also learn Spanish along the way. So
Daniel designed this program to be so incredibly, it's a very complicated program that he made very, very simple. So that deck is representative of the simplicity of the program.
The name of the book is
Divine Your Dinner.
Sorry, I took that off.
A cookbook for using tarot as your guide to magical meals. Magical.
There you go. Divine Your Dinner.
Magical. And it comes with jazz hands.
Yeah, and it's only $5. So it's only $5.
Oh my gosh, yeah, at Five Below. That's the name of the store. The reason it's called Five Below is because most everything is $5 or less. It's a great store, and it had a huge selection of spiritually based books and crystals, like little crystal packs. And
pizza sounds good.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Oh, Madeline, hi.
Yes, hello, baby. So good to see. So good for you to be here, and we're just happy you're able to make it.
You're so lucky you get to see us.
Five Below.
Charlie really loves your creepy faces and stuff. Yes, we're in love with Five Below. So, and Michelle, I just remembered how I was like, I know the name.
Michelle, what I want to do,
the study conference call. I was about to say that before you even said that. Yes, I know who you are now. Go ahead.
I just wanted to thank Michelle for kicking off the 3-word thing earlier. Yeah. It's so wonderful when someone just chimes right in and gets right into it. So thank you so much for that support.
I was so fortunate to be asked to go speak to the Study Kick folks last Friday on their last day of their conference, or their company conference, to go. They do research and studies and cancer, and so they asked me to come in and talk about and they were so gracious and so kind, and I was all over the place. But I hope they enjoyed it and they'll invite me back. But if you ever go check them out, I don't have their link up, but Study KIK. Look them up. They do studies and research, and they're an excellent group. I connected with some of them on LinkedIn already, and they're excellent. So go check them out. Go check them out. What's cooking?
Hello, a Rose.
Oh,
she's making rice with.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
Thank you, appreciate it.
She's making rice with chicken, but with wild rice, girl. And all I can tell you, folks, is Madeline is. She and Daniel both are impressive cooks.
Well, she's making some pollo loco then.
No, when you make it, it's pollo loco. When she makes it, it's arroz con pollo.
That sounds good. I'm hungry.
It sounds so good. Like can you beam it to me? I hope I live to see replicators. That would solve our world food problems, but it'd be so nice to just say what you want and it appears. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll live to see that. But anyway.
But so before we go, we want to remind you, remember Mondays, you have horoscopes on all of our platforms. So go check them out. On Wednesdays, come back and join us, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 Eastern with the Christian and Daniel Show. Then on Fridays with my friend Richard Wayne Kilgo II, we've got Zodiacs also at 6 o'clock, 9 Eastern. And then Saturday mornings, we've got Saturdays at noon, we've got Put It Together live stream. This Saturday, I have 2 guests. They call themselves Double Bagging It, and it's Danielle and Joe, who are also ostomates. So for those of you that know, I have an ostomy myself.
Wait, you both have ostomies?
They both have, yeah.
Wow.
So they're both comedians,
Are they a
And they-
couple?
No, they're just friends, and
Just
they've been working together for a long time. I've been wanting to have them on the show for a long time,
That's incredible.
but they're going to be on the show. So if you want more information or want to hear stories about Ostamets and some ask questions, remember all of our shows are interactive, so you can ask questions, be part of this conversation.
By the way, I said that's incredible, and I totally got hit with the
Aw.
memory. I used to watch that show religiously. That show that used to be called That's Incredible
Oh yeah,
back in the 70s,
yeah.
in the late 70s. That's so crazy. But yeah, that is so sweet, Emery.
Thank you. I have a really full schedule, and we're both working in different capacities with Cancer Live, which is
Yeah.
Cancer LYLFE.
LYB and LY Life.
Life.
Yeah. LYFE.
Um,
Life bulb.
They're part of the
Life
Life
bulb.
Bulb company, so we're both working with them. It's a social page for cancer survivors and caregivers to come and share your story. There's some great platforms, forums. There's a journal for you that you can write in, but it's really a place to come and share your stories about cancer. If you want more information, please message us and we will give you the info so you
And
can.
I can tell you can ask questions too, and you don't have to necessarily be a cancer survivor to participate. Because I am not a cancer survivor, thank God, knock on wood. And yet, as a caregiver, they've given me safe space to be able to express myself.
And so we invite you. I will post. Go follow whatever page you're following me on. I will post information on it so you can join us and be part of the group. Again, it's a page to come and share and talk. We also have webinars coming up and Instagram takeovers and all kinds of things. So if you're a cancer survivor or caregiver, come join us at Cancer Life so you can share your story on the page. We would love for you to do that. All right. For now, I think we're done.
Yeah, we are. This is the end of the show, folks, for today.
All the love to everybody. Have a great one. We will see you next week. Bye.